Li Sui felt that something was wrong, opened his eyes and saw that he was in a small dark room, surrounded by darkness, and he couldn't see his fingers. After a brief panic, Li Sui quickly calmed down. No way, she was so realistic. Shouldn't she be dead? How could it be here? Li Sui thought calmly. Her parents died unexpectedly in her first grade, and no relatives wanted to adopt her, so she was sent to an orphanage. She didn't want to remember what she experienced while growing up. Growing up and getting married, she thought she would live a happy life in the fairy tale ending. Who knows, her husband cheated. She calmly found a private investigator to collect evidence. After some torture, they divorced, and her husband left the house. She sent the passionate video of Ziosin and her husband to Ziosin's parents and Ziosin's work unit. Ziosin's mother was angrily stayed in the yard, and Ziosin's father kicked Ziosin in anger. As a result, Ziosin miscarried. Ziosin lost his job and lost his child. Li Sui felt unbearable for a moment when he learned that after the third child gave birth. Because she likes children. But it was unbearable, and it was only a moment. Do it yourself. What to do with her? She doesn't want to care about who is right or wrong in this marriage. However, she clearly remembered that she came out of the community that day and was killed by a car in order to save a child crossing the road. Now, where is she? Welcome to the Good Mother system, I am your guide 57321. A voiceless mechanical voice sounded. Who is talking? Who are you? Where is it? Li Sui was taken aback and said in a panic. This is the Good Mother system. I am your guide 57321. Your original body has died in a car accident, but you are lucky to be picked by the system. As long as you complete the task and collect enough time and space fragments, you can reborn in a parallel world, your parents will live well, and you can still become a mother as you wish and have a happy family. 57321 seduced with a feelingless voice. Although 57321's voice is hollow, what it says is seductive. She has no hope of having a happy family. She had known her ex-husband for 10 years and married for 5 years, and in the end he cheated. He said it was because he wanted a child and he couldn't have a baby. But Soli knew that these were all excuses for men to change their hearts. But her parents can be born again, and she can still become a mother. These two conditions are really tempting for her. What am I going to do? Li Sui said unconsciously. In fact, when this system was first established, it was also because of the resentment in many people's hearts. They believed that some people were not worthy of being parents. The system selected some worlds for you, all because of the inaction of the parents that caused the children to darken their personality and twist. What needs to be done is to establish the correct 3 views for them, and at the same time, learn how to be a qualified parent. If the task is completed well, the system will give you a space-time fragment. When all the space-time fragments are collected, you can be in a parallel world reborn. 57321 said. Li Sui laughed. Establish the correct 3 views? Are you sure my 3 views are right? 57321 was stunned. It quickly retrieved Li Sui's life. After reading it, it was silent. Judging from Li Sui's 30-year life experience, her 3 views are not correct. However, it is so easy for someone who meets the conditions to give up because of this. When will it be activated? Nowadays, those who have the opportunity to be selected by the system are mostly selected by such systems as heartfelt, happy lives, stunning beauties, forming a queen, first love by Yue Guang, overbearing presidents falling in love with me, etc. It is so good. The mother system is mostly rejected by people and no one is willing to choose. Otherwise, you can change the purpose of the task, for example, to prevent the target character from blackening, and the rest is free to play. How about? 57321 considered it for a long time, but still reluctant to give up. How clever Li Sui is, he has long seen from 57,321's response that there is still a lot of room for discussion on this matter. I am a weak woman who has no power to bind a chicken, I can't do it. 57,321 gritted his teeth and said, this is not a problem. As a lucky person, the system will give you corresponding benefits. You can use the lucky wheel to draw. You will have whatever abilities you get. That way, the head office. Li Su smiled with satisfaction, it was almost the same. 57,321 seeing that she had no objection, he breathed a sigh of relief. A big turntable appeared out of thin air in front of Li Su, with a variety of alluring conditions written on it, such as space, spiritual spring, spiritual field, and perspective eyes. Li Su felt a lot of peace in his heart, and it was indeed the welfare of the traveler. She thought for a while, stretched out her hand, turned the turntable, and then watched nervously as the turntable turned, and then watched the pointer move across the space, and finally stayed on the column as powerful as a cow. Li Su is embarrassed, what the is it? 57,321 did not wait for Li Su to speak, and immediately said, congratulations, you have gained the power like a cow. Okay, now you will start your first world. Before Li Su could object, he was sucked into the black hole that appeared out of thin air. When she woke up, she found that everything around her had changed again. Li Su did not panic, sat up calmly, looked at the surrounding environment, and at the same time, received the story introduction from his mind. This story is a very cliched story of Cinderella's happiness after marrying a wealthy family. The hostess has a poor family background, but she is self-improving, simple and beautiful, innocent and kind, and she likes cats and dogs. Set off by a crowd of coquettish bitches, it is exceptionally different. Then the male protagonist fell in love with the female protagonist at first sight, hidden his identity, and launched a fierce pursuit of the female protagonist. During the period, I experienced all kinds of misunderstandings, and finally the truth came to light. The male and female masters got married smoothly and lived happily with love. The goal of Li Su's mission this time is not the male lead or the female lead, but the second female lead, who is a good friend of the female lead growing up together. But unlike the heroine's kindness and purity, the second woman is a full-fledged green tea, a vicious black heart lotus that is black from the bone. After the second woman learned the true identity of the male protagonist, in order to replace her friend and marry into a wealthy family, she secretly used a lot of vicious means, including the relationship between the male protagonist and the female protagonist, and created various ways for the male protagonist and the female protagonist. Misunderstanding, drugged the male protagonist, was pregnant with the male protagonist's child, and told the female protagonist that the male protagonist forced her, causing the female protagonist to die to the male protagonist and misunderstand the breakup. She wanted her mother to be more expensive with her son, but she accidentally miscarried and blamed the hostess. The heroine wants to ruin the innocence of the heroine, etc. In order to hide her secrets during the period, the second woman also killed people. Of course, the conspiracy of the second girl did not succeed in the end. Various misunderstandings were finally solved. The true face of the second female was also revealed. Of course, her fate was miserable. She was sold to a Vietnamese prostitute by the male lead and died miserably. The character Li Su crossed is the grandmother of the second female Bai Ching Ching. Coincidentally, she is also called Li Su. Li Su had seen the plot, and then contacted Bai Qingqing's growing up experience, and sighed. It is not unreasonable that Bai Qingqing would be so cruel. This has a lot to do with Bai Qingqing's growth environment. Bai Qingqing's father, Bai Anshan, was originally a worker in the workshop. His mother, Wang Feng, was a traditional housewife. She took care of the elderly and children at home. Although the family was not rich, they could still live a good life. Later, Bai Anshan had an operating error because he went to work after drinking. Except for the accident, his right hand was chopped off by the machine. The factory lost a sum of money and fired him. Wang Fang had nothing to do, so she had to go out as a nanny and earn money to support her family. Because of Wang Fang's gentle personality and serious work, the host likes her very much. Over time, Wang Fang's salary has also become higher and higher, higher than that of Baiyun Mountain. Some people in the village started to gossip. Bai Yunchen felt resentful, and suffered from alcoholism and gambling. When drunk, he beat Wang Fang to vent his anger. At the beginning, when Baiyun Mountain beat Wang Fang, Bai Qingqing was afraid, but she still rushed to ask her father not to fight again, but Baiyun Mountain beat her even harder. Go and beg grandma, grandma doesn't care about it. Later, Baiyanchen drank more and more, and the money he gambled was also increasing. Wang Fang's monthly salary was not enough for Baiyanchen to gamble. Baiyun Mountain had no money to spend, so he forced Wang Fang to go out and continue to gamble with the money he sold. Wang Fang is a weak woman. To such a fate, she has no other way but to cry. One day, Baiyanchen lost his eyes and lost his daughter Bai Qingqing as a bet. The other party came to the door and wanted to take Bai Qingqing away. Wang Fang couldn't follow. She put her arms around Bai Qingqing, kneeled on the ground and begged Baiyun Mountain and Li Su, saying that she would work hard to make money in the future, begging them not to sell her daughter. Bai Yunchen kicked her in the chest, and Li Su didn't even look at her. He left a sentence, "Without your mothers, my son will find another one and give me a fat grandson." Wang Fang's head was knocked to pieces, but no one paid any attention to her. Finally, Wang Fang hit and died at the door of his house. Bai Qingqing hugged her mother's body, blood stained her whole body. Since then, Bai Qingqing has completely changed. Later, there was a big fire in the Bai family. The drunk Baiyun Mountain and Li Su who accidentally broke his leg were burned alive. Only Bai Qingqing escaped, but his back was also burned. The streets and neighbors pity Bai Qingqing's experience and rush to help her. Especially the hostess Chen Tianation's family, although her family is poor, she still brought Bai Qingqing back home and raised her as a daughter. Bai Qingqing is also very sensible, studying hard, and rushing to help with housework in his free time. When her true face was not revealed, she had always been a good daughter in the hearts of Chen's family, and a good friend and sister in Chen Tianation's hearts. Seeing this, Li Su shook his head helplessly. At this time, there was a sudden movement outside, and the door opened with a creak. Immediately afterwards, a man's cursing voice remembered, "Smelly, where's the money? Get it." Wang Fang's cowardly voice sounded, "Husband, this money can't be moved. This is Qingqing's tuition. How can you go to school with Qingqing? Get away." Baiyun Mountain's irritable voice sounded, and then a sound of collision of objects was remembered, mixed with Wang Fang's wailing. Bai Qingqing's cry sounded, "Dad, don't beat Mom. Mom, you let go, I'm not going to school, I'm not going to school. Mom." Li Su shook his head helplessly and walked out of the room. He saw a chaos in the courtyard. He looked in private and saw a stick in the corner. He walked over and picked it up and walked towards Baiyun Mountain and Wang Fang. When Bai Qingqing saw it, she stared at the boss. "Is grandma going to kill her mother?" Li Su hit Baiyanchen's leg with a stick, and with a snap, the stick broke. Bai Yunchen looked back at her incredulously, "Mom." Then his legs bent, the whole person threw forward and fell to the ground. Li Su carried a stick and looked at the mother and daughter who were huddled together on the ground. "Look, this is all right. I broke his leg, I see how he goes out to gamble and drink." The author has something to say. A new article has been opened, there are red envelopes in the comments. A lot of support, yet. In fact, there are a lot of things at home recently, and the state is a bit bad. I didn't plan to write a new article, but I promised everyone and I opened it. If the writing is not good, please point it out and I will try my best to revise it. Thank you for your support. The mother and daughter Wang Fang and Bai Qingqing shrank on the ground, as if stupid, unable to believe everything in front of them. When Bayun Mountain fell because of the fall, he knocked his head. Not only his head was torn, but the person also passed out. Li Su threw away half of the stick in his hand and patted the grey in his heart. What are you still doing in a daze? Take the person back quickly. After returning to his senses, Wang Fang quickly released Bai Qingqing and stepped forward to help. The two dragged Bayun Mountain back to the room with Li Su. Bai Qingqing sat on the ground alone, and got up for a long time. Looking at the broken stick on the ground, and then at the blood on the ground, she couldn't believe what happened just now. Grandma, the grandmother who treats his father so much, she broke father's leg with this stick just now. Is this true? Bad girl, roll in for me. A familiar voice rang in her ears, and Bai Qingqing shrank and quickly got up. After Bai Qingqing entered, she subconsciously walked to her mother's side and held her mother's sleeve tightly. Wang Fang also subconsciously protected Bai Qingqing behind him. Li Su looked at her mother and daughter like this, and shook his head helplessly. Wang Fang and Bai Qingqing's mother and daughter became more nervous. Li Su moved a stool and sat down. Sit down, too. Today, my mother will have a good talk. Wang Fang didn't dare to sit. Li Su patted the table and said, let you sit down. Wang Fang then tiptoedly sat down. Li Su saw her doing this, shook his head, so cowardly tempered, no wonder she ended up like that. You know, in the later period, Wang Fang was the main source of income for the Bai family, just like that, being bullied like that by Bayun Mountain and the original body, it was so cowardly. Since the accident in Yunshan, I have been sitting on the sidelines, leaving my hands alone, just want to see, what do you plan for the future, Fang? After all, you are a good one and stood up to support this family. Li Su said. Wang Fang couldn't believe her ears. This was the first time her mother-in-law praised herself. She always scolded herself before, saying that she could not give birth to a son, which was useless. He also said that his hit was bad, which bad luck for her son. But what happened later, you let me say hello. Bayun Mountain is a bastard, you are also a fool? He is your man. He is drinking and betting money outside, shouldn't you care? Come back drunk and beat his wife, you don't know how to resist. You didn't let him beat you to death because you were lucky. Li Su continued to curse. A trace of unhappiness flashed in Bai Qingqing's eyes. He wanted to rush out to say something, but was held back by Wang Fang. Wang Fang lowered his head, resignedly, what Mom said is that I'm not good. Naturally, you are not good. The original character is like this, and Li Su doesn't want to change it all at once, this will make people suspicious. It can only slowly change within a limited range. I watched these days with cold eyes, and hoped that you would not be able to do it. If you count on you, sooner or later this family will be separated. From now on, your salary will be paid directly to me. I will take care of this family. Bai Qingqing sneered a few times, she thought the sun was coming out from the west. It turned out to be waiting here. However, it's not right. If Grandma just wants to take money from Mom, just tell Mom that Mom will not give it. Why did she come here and broke Dad's leg? Wang Fang is an uninspiring person, with a weak temperament, what her mother-in-law and husband used to say, how dare she? Now that someone is willing to come forward, she is naturally willing. Okay, I listen to my mother. Cut, look at your unpromising appearance. If you don't listen to me, you will be beaten to death by your man sooner or later. Li Su said disdainfully. Li Su looked back at Bayun Mountain lying on the bed, and cursed, this idiot, let him lie down like this in the future, why did I give birth to such a waste? The hands are broken, it is not human waste, one day. It's like who owes him money late at night. I can earn hundreds of dollars a month by picking up the tattered pieces outside, no matter how bad, I can also make some income by showing the door. He poured it out, drinking and gambling outside, only a few months at the time of the year, the 20,000 yuan compensation from the factory was over. Had it not been for murder and crime, my mother would have stuffed you back into my mother's belly. Wang Fang was a little embarrassed and unbearable. But Bai Qingqing was crazy when she heard it. For the first time, she discovered that the ignorant, vulgar grandmother in her impression was so beautiful. So are you. As the saying goes, if your husband is good or not, it all depends on your wife. You are good. Whatever he says is what he says. Give it to him if he asks for money. If he beats you, you will only cry. Your hands are long. What are you doing? I only know what to eat in his mouth, but I don't know how to fight back. He broke his leg like me a long time ago, how could he go out to drink and gamble for money? Li Su turned his gun and pointed at it. Wang Fang scolded. Wang Fang lowered his head only conscientiously, as if I was very guilty and that everything you said was right. Bai Qingqing muttered in his heart, fighting back? How can her mother have the guts? Okay, ignore this idiot, let me ask you, how much money is left at home? Li Su asked. Wang Fang glanced at her husband who was lying on the bed. She was a little worried about the injury on his forehead. He took a few banknotes from him. Mom, there is only 480 yuan at home, and Yunchen takes the rest of the money. I'm gone. This money is Qingqing's tuition. Mom, who can't move this money? Wang Fang did not dare to say the last few words. How much is Qingqing's tuition? Li Su asked. She is not very clear about the current prices. Before, she was a person who likes to take things easy. When her husband is there, she depends on her husband. Her husband died and depended on his son and his wife. It costs 308, and the remaining 100 yuan. I want to buy clothes for Qingqing. She hasn't bought new clothes for years. Mom, in 20 days, I will get this month's salary. At that time, there will be money. Wang Fang whispered. Li Su looked at Bai Qingqing's patched clothes and nodded, okay, you take the money, sign up for the dead girl, and buy clothes and shoes. Don't buy those fancy clothes. They are not good looking or expensive. Knowing Mom, thank you Mom, I will definitely work hard and make more money. I will take another job. Wang Fang said excitedly. Come on, you, just do this job well. Clean yourself up and don't let people dislike you. When you lose your job, the family will drink northwest wind. Li Su waved and said. Knowing Mom, what about Yunchen? Wang Fang glanced at her husband worriedly. Don't worry, I can't die. Later I will go to the village head Dr. Zhang, let him come and see. Li Su looked at Baiyun Mountain disgustingly, if it weren't for murder and crime, she would have killed the early. Mom, let Qingqing go, her legs and feet fast. Wang Fang said quickly when she saw this. After speaking, he also pushed Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing was a little reluctant, and Li Su saw this, if your father is really disabled, your mother will have to serve him. As soon as the voice fell, Bai Qingqing ran away. Wang Fang looked at Li Su's face with some fear, for fear that she would be angry. Li Su ignored her, she was thinking about what to do in the future. After a while, Li Su said, I think it's good. You can be your nanny, and save the money you earn. Qingqing will use it in school in the future. Our family is counting on this waste and you. Count on Qingqing. As for this trash, when his legs are healed, I will take him out to pick up the tatters. Anyway, I will earn some money to support the family. Li Su understood very well, to prevent Bai Qingqing from turning black, first of all, we must give her a relatively normal family environment. Then the first thing to be solved is Baiyun Mountain. As for how to transform Baiyun Mountain, Li Su had no plans. Regarding such a scumbag who was addicted to alcohol and gambling and beating his wife, Li Su decided to fight for a tooth and suppress it with force. This body is only 50 years old, and his bones are very healthy. It will be no problem to live another 30 years. Then Baiun Mountain will be an old man, and Bai Qingqing should be able to deal with it. Li So likes children very much, but she likes the soft and glutinous children, not the rough guy like Baianshan with 1.5 meters. Therefore, she has no love or sympathy for Baiun Mountain. It doesn't hurt to die. How can I let you do this kind of thing, Mom, or I should do more work? Wang Fang said subconsciously. Li Su rolled his eyes. You are so good now, you have learned to talk back. Standing at the door, Bai Qingqing was a little speechless. She wondered if this was the case before. She was always half observant. It was clear that Grandma was for the sake of her mother, but what she said made people uncomfortable. Maybe it was the same before? Did you really misunderstand Grandma? Why don't you go in? Didn't you say that your dad was injured? Zhang Yuan, who was carrying the medicine box, asked suspiciously. Oh, Grandpa Zhang, please come in. Milk, Grandpa Zhang is here. Bai Qingqing reacted and said hurriedly. The first thing Zhang Yuan saw after entering the door was Wang Fang with bruised corners of his eyes, frowning subconsciously. This Xiao Bai drank and beat his wife again? But this time Xiao Wang finally had some promise, knowing that he would resist. Uncle Zhang is here, please come in quickly. Could you please show Uncle Zhang to Yunshan? Wang Fang still has some affection for Baiun Mountain. After all, he has only been married for a few years, and Baiun Mountain is still very good to her. Zhang Yuan nodded to Li Su, then walked to the bed and checked Baiun Mountain. He has no affection for the eccentric old lady of the Bai family. If the leg is broken, I need a splint and a plaster cast. I can keep it for a few months. As for the head injury, it's not a big problem. Just apply some medicine and bandage it. Zhang Yuan frowned. The little king started a little ruthless. My leg broke. It will take a few months to get better. I'm still going to take him out to pick up the tatters. Li Su frowned. This won't work. It hurts for 100 days, and at least 3 months of rest is needed. Zhang Yuan was a little surprised. He heard it right. The old lady Li, who had always regarded her only son as a treasure, said she wanted to take Baiun Mountain. Pick up the tatters? What would happen if I didn't rest? Li Su didn't plan to raise idlers. If you don't raise it well, your legs may be lame. Zhang Yuan said. Then it's okay, a lame leg won't affect him picking up the tatters. Li Su waved his hand and decided so happily. Wang Fang, Bai Qingqing, and Zhang Yuan looked at each other. The author has something to say. Thank you for the mine rewarded by King Hua. Mwa. King Hua threw a landmine throwing time, 2018083012:30:19 today. I'm taking my daughter to get a vaccination, the last 2 shots before going to elementary school. Sign up the day after tomorrow, next Monday will be a primary school student. There is a red envelope in the message today. Please collect it. Recently, there are a lot of things at home, and the state is not very good. If you write it badly, please correct me and I will try my best to modify it. Thank you. Wang Fang whispered, Mom, isn't this great? Why, you still feel distressed? Don't you think he beat you hard enough? You are born to be beaten. Li Su said disdainfully. I didn't mean that. Wang Fang lowered his head and said. I'm telling you, for a man, when he hits you for the first time, you have to hit him on the ground, so that he won't dare to bark his teeth with you. Besides, what's the point of a lame leg? You can pick up the tatters, but if you can't, you can beg. There is always something to do for him. Let me tell you, men can't be used to knowing. As the saying goes, a husband is like a murderer, and a man should be disciplined. Li Su Tao. Wang Fang didn't hear it, Zhang Yuan didn't know, but Bai Qingqing obviously heard it, and he listened with gusto, his eyes lit up. Zhang Yuan Sheng was afraid that the child would be broken, so he hurriedly pulled Bai Qingqing out. Qingqing, go back with Grandpa to get the splint and plaster. The two walked out of the Bai's house, and Zhang Yuan saw Bai Qingqing's thoughtful look, and hurriedly said, "Qing Qing, don't listen to your grandma's nonsense. As the saying goes, Grandpa Zhang, I lived for 58 years, but I didn't listen. Past such a saying. But Grandpa Zhang, I think what my grandma said is very reasonable." Bai Qingqing's eyes lighted. "I understand why Grandma was indifferent to family matters before. She wanted to test my mother. As a result, my mother was too soft and disappointed her, so my grandma shot it herself. Grandpa Zhang, you didn't know that my grandma was so handsome today. She broke my dad's leg as soon as she shot it. So handsome. Grandma is awesome." Zhang Yuan was dumbfounded. "You mean, your father's leg was interrupted by your milk?" "Yet. My grandma is a person of great wisdom. I think what she said makes sense. I have to remember it carefully." Bai Qingqing said excitedly. Zhang Yuan blinked. Is this the Li Su he knew? The Li Su in his impression is lazy, easy to work, and not like the kind of intelligent person Qingqing said. Also, isn't Li Su the most precious of her son? How willing to break Bianchen's leg? Your father's leg was really interrupted by your grandma. Zhang Yuan still couldn't digest this fact until he got his tools back to Bai's house. Yet, my grandma also said that if it were not for murder, she would have stuffed my dad back into the mother's womb. My grandma also said that she would not want to treat my dad if it was not for fear that my dad would be paralyzed and need someone to take care of him. It hurts, my milk said, my dad is a waste. Bai Qingqing said excitedly, she thought her grandma was right. It turns out that grandma has always been in hiding. Seeing Bai Qingqing's excited look, Zhang Yuan couldn't help holding his forehead. After that, Qingqing, who was as simple as a white rabbit, was also taken by the old lady Li Su. When Zhang Yuan treated Baiyun Mountain for his injuries, Baiyun Mountain woke up from the pain. When he woke up, he yelled at him, and all kinds of foul language were endless. Li Su was angry, and slapped him up, cold again, and then scolded the old lady for cutting your tongue. Baiyun Mountain was beaten up, his mother never touched his finger in memory. Reminiscent of the stick on the leg, Bai Yunchen looked at Li Su with a wink, "Mom, are you silly?" Li Su went up and slapped again, "Mom, you still know that I am your mother. Who are you scolding? I interrupted your leg, why? I want to get revenge on me. I can bear you. Come at me. You scumbag. What if your hands are scrapped? You can live by picking up the rags and looking at the gates. You can do it well, drink and gamble for money. The old lady gave you a few months and thought about you. It's enough decadence, so you should cheer up. You're good, but you're still getting stronger. Relying on your wife to support you, and you beat your wife, you can stand it." After that, he slapped again. Zhang Yuan, who was splinting on Baiyun Mountain, raised his head and glanced at Li Su after hearing this. Does this old woman really have such a high level of consciousness? Can't tell. Bai Qingqing watched with great joy, and the villain in her heart was constantly waving the flag for grandma, hitting it a few more times, hitting it harder. On the contrary, Wang Fang couldn't stand it anymore, so he rushed over and protected Baiyun Mountain with his body. Mom, don't fight, Yunchen is injured, don't fight. Li Su looked at this desperate thing, you talk about you, it's about this time, and you're still protecting him. It's really worthless. Although Bai Qingqing didn't want to admit it, she still quite agreed with her grandma's words in her heart, and her mother's personality was too weak. As long as she has half the courage of her grandma, she will not be bullied like that by her father. It's a pity that Baiyun Mountain didn't care about Wang Fang's maintenance, and pushed her away. Damn, you gotta go. His stomach hurts. Li Su slapped another backhand, still swearing. Bai Yunchen held his face, his expression aching. Mom, she is pressing my stomach. What's wrong with pressing your stomach? You look at you as fat, except for the fat on your body. Your wife loves you, protects you, you are fine, the dog bit Lu Dongbin, I think you owe it. Li So looking left and right, Bai Qingqing handed the feather duster at home cleverly. Wang Fang looked at her daughter in surprise, Qingqing, what are you doing? Li So glanced approvingly, she was indeed the second female, she was clever since she was young. Then he pulled the feather duster and smashed his head and covered his face again. The Baiyun mountain that hit Baiyun mountain was howling ghosts, crying and howling, and occasionally wanted to struggle, but was threatened by Zhang Yuan, you can't move, you hurt your leg, but you don't pay attention, but you will be disabled. Bianchan had to hold his head in both hands and was beaten resignedly. Tired of hitting it for a while, Li So put down the feather duster, my mother warns you, if I say something dirty, do you believe it if my mother is abolished? Bianchan was wronged. If he hadn't believed it before, now he would. After all, he still feels a lot of pain now, when did Mom get so strong? Mom, you have changed. It was not like you before. I miss my former mother so much. Bianchan said grievously. Hey, no matter how old I am, this family will be dissipated by you. Li Su said angrily, I didn't discipline you well before and used you to look like a mess now. But it doesn't matter, you are still young. Come here. Bai Yunshan's eyes were dark, Mom, what if you can't break it? He is already 30. Humph, you can't break it, then call it. Li Su sneered, and broke the feather duster with one hand. Bianchan rolled his eyes and passed out. Li Su glanced at him disgustingly, it's useless. Okay, don't watch the excitement anymore, the dead girl, go back to sleep, don't be long-minded all day long. Li Su said this in the past, when Bai Qingqing heard it, and only felt that his heart was full of humiliation and anger. Now when he listened to it, Bai Qingqing could even hear a touch of intimacy. I know Grandma, I'll go to wash, Grandma, do you want hot water? I will also fetch water for you to wash. Bai Qingqing asked with a smile on her face. Reaching out his hand and not hitting the smiley, besides being a 7 or 8-year-old child, Li Su rarely showed a smiling face, and then withdrew his smile, no need, I will do it myself. I said you always guard that trash snack, what do you do? ATC controls your daughter. She is a bit older and clumsy. You are not afraid of her being scalded by hot water. Wang Fang was watching Baiyun Mountain weeping, and wiping away tears after hearing the words, yes, I will go now. Then he hurried out with Bai Qingqing. Zhang Yuan also handled Baiyun Mountain's broken leg and left a few bottles of medicine. Li Su said, how much? She also just remembered that the original body seemed to have some private money, although not much. 102. Zhang Yuan said. Li Su frowned, so expensive, I blame this waste, no, I can't let him lie down to recuperate comfortably, and I will carry him to the flyover to beg for food tomorrow. Although Li Su felt distressed, he still gave Zhang Yuan 120 yuan. Zhang Yuan was a little surprised, after looking at Li Su a few times, he turned around and went back. On the way back, Zhang Yuan was a little silent. He was not as innocent as Bai Qingqing. He had known Li Su for decades. He knew that Li Su was definitely not what Bai Qingqing thought. Li Su didn't have this brain, nor this ability. If this Li Su is not the Li Su he knew, then who is he? Without talking about the strange power, Zhang Yuan came back to his senses and hurriedly read the words in his heart. However, no matter what is going on, Li Su's change may be a good thing. At the very least, for the Bai family, this is the case. Wang Fang hurriedly sent Bai Qingqing to bed, and ran to Baiyun Mountain's room. Sure enough, Li Su had already gone to sleep. Wang Fang brought hot water to Baiyun Mountain and scrubbed his body. During this time, Bai Yunshan woke up, and when he saw Wang Fang, he subconsciously raised his hand and wanted to hit him, but as soon as he raised his hand, the pain on his body and face reminded him, and he put down his hand angrily. Wang Fang was so moved, Yunchen still had her in his heart. Do you think there is something wrong with our mother? Baiyun Mountain thought about it and asked. Something wrong? What's wrong? She didn't feel it, she was still as good as before. Wang Fang shook his head blankly. Bianchen waited for Wang Fang disgustingly, talking to this stupid woman was a waste of saliva. It's just that he still has some doubts in his heart, because his mother's attitude before and after is too surprised. Having been the son of his mother for 30 years, if he still doesn't recognize the virtue of his mother, then he is an idiot. No, this mom is definitely not his original mom. What is going on? Borrowing a dead body, or is your brain broken? Baiyun Mountain stayed up all night and fell into contemplation. Finally fell asleep at 5 or 6 in the morning. Early in the morning, Wang Fang was going to work at his employer's house. Before leaving, he glanced at Baiyun Mountain worriedly, and then at Li Su, who was eating breakfast. He didn't dare to say anything. After breakfast, wash the dishes. Li Su thought for a while and called Bai Qingqing, go, borrow a cart and come back. Milk, why do you borrow the cart? Bai Qingqing asked. Push your dad to go to the bridge to beg for food. Li Su said, of course. Could it be possible that during these months of recuperating, just lying at home and doing nothing? Bai Qingqing laughed. She thought Grandma was just talking about it, but she didn't expect Grandma to come to the real. Will people give money? Anyway, being idle is also being idle. You remember, our family does not raise idlers. Li Su said seriously. The author has something to say. My daughter signed up for elementary school today, so time flies. Leave a message today and continue to send red envelopes. Please bookmark and leave a message to support. Thank you. When Bai Qingqing borrowed the scooter, and Li Su spent 906 Tuo tigers to board Baiyun Mountain on the scooter. Li Su panted, of course it was loaded, but Baiyun Mountain was indeed fat. He's so fat. Then he looked at Bai Qingqing, don't go, do your homework at home, don't run around, and don't walk with strangers, you know? If you're bored, I will find your classmates to play. Your mother will prepare lunch for you. Know how to heat, if you burn the kitchen back to see I won't break your legs. Milk, I'll go with you. Bai Qingqing said, watching Li Su change into a tattered dress. We are going to beg for food. Isn't it the most face-saving thing for your little girl's house? Or forgive it? Li Su said blankly, I'm old, face is not worth any more. Okay, just like that, I'm leaving, you close the door. Although Bai Qingqing said so, she really asked her to go out to beg, and she really couldn't help her face. Although the milk is as harsh as ever, it is for her good. Bai Qingqing doesn't want to stay at home alone. What happened in the past 2 days is like a roller coaster, she urgently needs to share with others. So she packed her school bag and went to the house of her best friend Chen Tian. Qingqing, come for Tian to play? Tian is in the house, go in. It was Mother Chen who opened the door. She was a gentle woman who saw Bai Qingqing and said with a smile. Thank you, Mother Chen. Bai Qingqing also said hello politely. Sweet. Qingqing. When two good friends are together, there will always be endless words. Bai Qingqing told Chen Tian what had happened in the past 2 days. Chen Tian bit her lip, no matter why your grandma changed, isn't this a good thing? I really want to have a grandma too. Tian, do you think so? I also think my grandma has become too good now. I like the current grandma. Bai Qingqing is actually a little jealous of Chen Tian. They are the same age, the same family, and even the Chen family is not as good as the previous Bai family, but why is the family atmosphere of the Chen family so good? Although Dad Chen is taciturn, he takes care of his wife and loves his daughter. Mother Chen is gentle like water, but she has an idea in her bones. She is a good girl who grew up under the care and love of her parents. What is like myself, compared with Tian Tian, nothing is as good as Tian Tian. But now it's different, I have a great grandma. Bai Qingqing felt that she had found balance, and said excitedly. Bai Qingqing's lunch was also eaten at Chen's family. Although Chen's family was poor, the family atmosphere was very good. In the past, Bai Qingqing would be envious and jealous, but now Bai Qingqing can't. She remembered when she had dinner with milk in the morning. Although the milk does not speak, she also puts delicious food in her bowl. The milk also cares about me, but the milk knife mouth tofu heart, I don't know how to express it. It must be so. Bai Qingqing's brain filled with joy. At around 6 o'clock in the afternoon, Wang Fang cooked dinner for the employer's family, and hurried back home despite the fact that the employer's family kept her from leaving after dinner. She was very worried, and she didn't know if Yunchen took the medicine on time. But when she got home, she found that there was only one person at home, Bai Qingqing, who was doing homework. Where is your father? And your grandma? Wang Fang was so scared that he almost fainted. Milk took Dad out early in the morning. Bai Qingqing just said. Li Su's voice came from outside the door, open the door. Wang Fang and Bai Qingqing hurriedly went to open the door, only to see Li Sula came back with Baiun Mountain, and when they moved Baiun Mountain to the bed, Bai Qingqing went to return the cart, and Li Su sat down and drank water. Although she is not tired at all, she still has to pretend to be. Mom, what the is going on? Wang Fang felt distressed when he saw Baiun Mountain whose face turned pale. It's okay, I took him to the flyover to beg for food. This guy is too fat, if he is thinner, the effect will be better. Change the place tomorrow and go to the next town. Li Su wiped the corners of his mouth. Emma, is it easy to be a mother? For her son, there are 10,000 easy ways to make money in her mind, but she chose the most tiring one. What? Begging. Wang Fang couldn't believe his ears. Yet, when I went out in the morning, I forgot to bring painkillers. This guy was so painful that he yelled, let alone, the effect was pretty good. Many people thought we were liars at first, but listened to him. Call, I believe it. Li Su said happily. Milk, how much money do you make in a day? Bai Qingqing said excitedly. Not much, $10. Li Su said triumphantly, taking out a stack of fragmented banknotes from his pants pocket. People in the 1990s were still very simple, if it weren't for the fact that they couldn't make it, no one would look down on the road to beg for food. So no one doubted them. Unlike the 21st century, begging has become a profession. People's kindness has been used countless times, and they are all numb. So many. Bai Qingqing eyes lit up, Milk, I will go with you tomorrow. I am a child, and others will sympathize with us more. Qingqing, what are you talking about? This is a lie, how can you do such a thing? Wang Fang said angrily. Li Su glanced over, and Wang Fang immediately stopped talking. Li Su turned his head to look at Bai Qingqing. Begging on the roadside is not an easy thing. You have to endure other people's eyes and disgust, can you bear it? Bai Qingqing thought for a while, nodded solemnly, I can bear it. Li Su smiled, forget it. I will take your dad to the street to beg for food. I just want your dad to show some surplus value, and I don't want him to get used to him at home for nothing. Plus what your mom said. It makes sense, after all, this is a lie. For children, it's better not to lie. When I look back and wait for your dad's legs to heal, I will take him to pick up the rags. If you are willing to go with us, go with us. Mom! Wang Fang yelled weakly. I can do a few more jobs, so don't toss Yunchen and Qingqing. I said that your brain was kicked by a donkey. Is this tossing? This is exercise. What's the matter, you still want to raise this cripple? Let him drink and gamble? How much is enough for you? Li Sui scolded mercilessly. But, Yunshan's leg is still hurt. Wang Fang said unbearably. When his legs are healed, can you control him? Li Sui asked, rolling his eyes. Bai Qingqing also said with a serious look, Mom, I think what the milk said is very reasonable. Didn't the milk say it? From now on, this family will be in charge of the milk. You just listen to the milk. Dad is the son of the milk. Can it hurt him? There is a saying that is well said, and love is deeply responsible. Milk does this for the good of Dad. Mom, don't you want Dad to reform and live like before? Wang Fang has always been a person who doesn't advocate. He has always been submissive, basically what he said is nothing. Now even her daughter says the same, she has no idea, this. Then it's up to Mom. Just, Mom. I went out tomorrow, and still took the painkillers. And Mom, what do you eat for lunch? Oh, the kind people bought 2 steamed buns, and someone gave a bottle of water. Li Suman said casually. It was true that some kind people gave the steamed buns and water, but she couldn't eat the shriveled steamed buns, so she ran to buy a roast chicken and chewed it. How can this work? Mom, how can you eat steamed buns? Wang Fang's eyes were filled with tears immediately. Tomorrow, I will cook some food for Mom to take. You said you are stupid. Begging, naturally the more pitiful, the better. You still prepare your own food, in this case, who believes you? Li So cursed. If Bai Qingqing heard such words in the past, she would definitely be filled with indignation, thinking that Grandma was humiliating her mother, but now, Bai Qingqing also thinks what Grandma said is reasonable. It's just that, it's hard work. Bai Qingqing said. Li So glanced at Bai Qingqing, knowing that I love the milk, it means that you still have a conscience. Girl, come here, do you blame the milk for doing you and your mother before? Bai Qingqing said righteously, I know that you are all for our good. You want to train us, but we let you down. Li So felt that this little girl was quite advanced, and she couldn't see the appearance of Black Heart Lotus in the future. But also, how old she is, even if she is a little careful, it belongs to the normal psychological fluctuations of a little girl, and she hasn't started to darken yet. It's good if you understand. I am old and will die sooner or later. How you live in the future depends on your own life. If your mother is like this, I hope she won't make it. Qing, our family will depend on you in the future. You have to be well. Reading, going to a good university, finding a good job, and taking care of more at home in the future. As for your dad, don't worry, I will break him before I die. I won't let him become your drag. Now not only Wang Fang was moved, but even Bai Qingqing's eyes were full of tears. It turned out that the milk was so well-intentioned. She had misunderstood the milk before. Milk, don't worry, I will study hard and make a lot of money in the future so that you can live a good life. Li So laughed, thinking that as long as you don't turn black, you will be a great help to me. The ancestors and grandchildren here are in a harmonious atmosphere. The Baiyun mountain lying on the bed over there was hungry and woke up. People, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. Get me something quickly. Wang Fang didn't have time to wipe his tears and rushed over. Yunshan, are you hungry? What do you want to eat? Can I cook a bowl of egg noodles for you? Bai Yunshan habitually opened his mouth and wanted to scold. Just as he was about to speak, he saw the old witch who occupied his mother's body looking at him coldly, and Bai Yunshan immediately frightened him to speak. This old witch is so cruel, her leg hurts, she doesn't give herself painkillers, she pinches herself deliberately in an invisible corner, so that she can cry out in pain. At noon, I went out to eat roast chicken, but gave myself hard buns. Don't think he doesn't know, he can smell roast chicken. This made him finally sure, this old witch is definitely not his mother, and his mother would never bear to do this to him. However, the power disparity between the enemy and ours was too great, and he couldn't beat the old witch. At present, it seems that Wang Feng and the dead girl were also coaxed by the old witch. No one helps him, he can only choose to swallow his breath and wait for the future. Humph, wait for his legs to heal. Humph. Baiun Mountain thought madly, and then said, I don't eat egg noodles, I want to eat roast chicken. Also eat roast chicken. You are not beautiful. Feng. Go and give him a bowl of clear water. Get used to him. Li Su said angrily. You. An old witch. The remaining 4 words swallowed silently after seeing Li Suyang's raised hand. Yunshan, Mom is doing it for your own good. You have injured your leg, so you can't eat something greasy like roast chicken. So, tomorrow morning I will go to the vegetable market to buy some big bones and make soup for you, okay? Wang Feng gentle persuade. I'm going to eat roast chicken. Baiun Mountain would not be so polite to Wang Feng, he was greedy to death after smelling the roast chicken smell all afternoon. No, he is going to eat chicken tonight. Wang Feng hesitated to say, but where are you going to buy roast chicken for this big night? Otherwise, tomorrow I will buy a chicken and kill it for you to stew the soup. I want to eat roast chicken. Don't you understand roast chicken? Stupid! Bai Yunshan roared. Eat your grandmother! Li Su took out half of a bun from his pocket and blocked Bai Yunshan's mouth. Dare to grin again, my old lady, cut your tongue. Baiun Mountain was almost choked to death. Wang Feng quickly took out the steamed buns. Baiun Mountain glared at Li Su in anger without speaking. Seeing this, Bai Qingqing secretly applauded. Her father dared to yell at Mom, if he has the ability, you yell at the milk. Slap you to death by watching the milk. Mom, you go to the kitchen to cook noodles for Dad. Upon seeing this, Wang Feng had to stand up. Mom, you didn't eat dinner either, I'll cook more noodles. Yet. Go, beat 2 eggs, you and Qingqing each one, this waste is not allowed to give him eggs. Li Su said. Why, I also made money today, okay. Bai Yunshan subconsciously retorted when he heard that there was no roast chicken, not even eggs. As soon as he said the words, he regretted it. For fear that the old witch would become angry, he started to attack him again. Unexpectedly, Li Su felt thoughtful when he heard the words, what you said makes sense, at least you earned the $80 today. So, Feng I will add an egg to him later. Wang Feng happily agreed, turned around and went to the kitchen. Bai Yunshan also hugged the quilt and smiled triumphantly, and then reacted, what is he triumphant about? When did Baiun Mountain fall to the point where he would be happy to eat an egg, really? But looking up at Li Su, Bai Yunshan lowered his head. Okay, the situation is better than others. He endured this tone. The next day, Li Su took Baiun Mountain to another place and continued to beg for food. Today's luck was almost as good as he only made about 50 yuan. But Li Su was not discouraged either. She didn't expect to get rich by begging, she just wanted to toss Baiun Mountain. Within a few days, Bai Qingqing started school. After school started, lunch became a problem, and she couldn't just work together to deal with it like before. Wang Feng and Li Su discussed, or she would come back at noon to cook for Qingqing. Li Su thought for a while, but refused. No, your family is good, but you can't know what is good or bad, or I will come. Baiun Mountain, who was lying on the bed, heard this. The old witch was going to cook for the dead girl. Does that mean that he doesn't need to go out and beg for food in the future? Although he is indeed miserable. Wang Feng thinks about it, too. Now she is the main source of income for the family. The employer's eldest sister is already a little unhappy because of her family's work a few times before. Then trouble Mom. Wang Feng also thought that Li Su didn't plan to take Baiun Mountain out to beg, and he was still happy. But early the next morning, Li Su sent away Bai Qingqing, and still took Baiun Mountain out on time. Assuming that the time was almost up, she took out an enamel cup and placed it in front of Baiun Mountain. If you lose money, my mother wants you to drink Northwest Wind tonight. No, what are you going to do? Bai Yunchen asked with blinking eyes. I'll go back and cook for your girl. I'll be back when the meal is over. If someone pays me during this period, you can collect it. Li Su stared at him. Then you leave me here alone? What am I eating at noon? Baiun Mountain asked, leaning against the big tree by the overpass. Otherwise? I'll take you back, and I have to pull you out after dinner? Am I panicking? Li Su rolled his eyes and said. You are not afraid of my accident? Bai Yunchen roared, this old witch is too bad. Cut! You big man, what can happen? Li Su said disdainfully, if she is a woman, she would be more worried. What is there to worry about for a big man who looks so mediocre? Besides, the folk customs are fairly simple now, so what can be done? However, Li Su still looked around and found a stick with a thin arm. Hey, I'll keep you self-defense. Don't worry, I will be back soon after eating. After speaking, patted his and walked away. Leaving Baiun Mountain stunned, this old witch really left herself here. It's too much, he wants to tell, damn, who he wants to tell is useful. So angry. Bai Yunchen bit his sleeve and cried. The pedestrians passing by saw him like this, their right hand was useless, and his left leg was put in a plaster again, crying so badly. Feeling very pitiful, he stopped and threw $1 in the enamel cup in front of him. Bai Yunchen cried even worse when he saw this. Dad, come on, take away this old witch who has taken up Mom's body. Your son was tossed to death by her. Bai Qingqing and Chen Tiantian came back from school holding hands. Qingqing, why don't you come to my house for dinner at noon? Chen Tiantian said seriously. Bai Qingqing shook her head, my milk will cook for me at noon. Don't worry, we will go to school together in the afternoon. Chen Tian Desert nodded, okay, I will come to you then. Bai Qingqing sent Chen Tiantian into the house, and then walked a few steps quickly, pushing open the door of her house a little nervously. She was not sure whether her grandma would cook for her at home. But as soon as the door was opened, there was a scent, and Bai Qingqing was immediately happy. Milk. Why are there such loud noises in the daytime? Shouting soul. Li Su came out of the kitchen angrily with a spatula in his hand. Hurry up and put down your school bag, wash your hands, and get the dishes. Bai Qingqing put down her school bag and washed her hands with a smile. Hey, Milk, where's my dad? Your dad, I'm still there, eat quickly, I have to go there after I finish eating. Li Su replied. Ah? What does he eat at noon? Bai Qingqing wondered. When I went to the vegetable market to buy vegetables, I bought him some meat buns. For the first time, Bai Qingqing felt a little sympathetic to her dad. After a while, the food came, and Bai Qingqing looked at it. A few simple dishes, hot and sour potato shreds, stir-fried small green vegetables, a braised chicken wings, and a meatball soup. Eat fast. Well, you can eat more milk. Bai Qingqing first served Li Su with rice, and then gave her a chicken wing. After taking a bite of chicken wings, Bai Qingqing's eyes lit up. She never knew that milk is so delicious when cooking. Milk, how do you make these chicken wings? It's delicious. If it tastes delicious, you can eat more. There is so much nonsense for a meal. Li Su said with a stare at her. This is Coke chicken wings. The bottle of Coke is only 3 yuan. You must know that this will cost 5 yuan per catty of pork. After a hurried meal, Bai Qingqing sensibly helped Li Su clean up the dishes and chopsticks. Milk, I'll wash these bowls, you go to Dad. Can you be at home alone? Li Su asked, pouring a bottle of cold white boiled rice and holding 2 meat buns. Don't worry, I can do it. Although Bai Qingqing is only 8 years old, she is also used to housework and is very smart. Okay, then I'm leaving. Be careful at home alone and lock the door. Li Su said. I see, milk. Li Su hurried out. Bai Qingqing was halfway washing the dishes, and suddenly heard someone knock on the door. She thought it was because the milk had forgotten to bring something, so she could not wipe her hands, so she ran to open the door. It was Zhang Yuan who knocked on the door. Grandpa Zhang, what do you want? Bai Qingqing asked in surprise. Oh, let me take a look at your dad's legs. Zhang Yuan frowned. How can you let your little child wash the dishes? Where's your milk? He thought that Li Su had changed for the better. Up. My dad is not at home, Grandpa Zhang, come back tonight. My mother is not at home either. Bai Qingqing said. Not at home. Zhang Yuan's eyes suddenly widened. Wouldn't the old lady Li Su really take Baiyun Mountain to beg? Well, my grandmother took my dad to the next town to beg for food. My grandmother said that he must let my dad use his surplus value, and the family does not raise idlers. Grandpa Zhang, are you okay? I'm fine, I'm going to wash the dishes. Bai Qingqing said seriously. Zhang Yuan laughed, then I'll come back tonight. Then he left blankly. When Li Su arrived in a hurry, Baiyun Mountain was almost dried up, hungry, thirsty, and sun-dried. Why did you come here? Baiyun Mountain said irritably. Li Su took out 2 steamed buns from his pocket and unscrewed the cap of the mineral water bottle. Hurry up. Bai Yunchen was in a bad mood, and thinking that it was outside, she definitely didn't dare to hit someone, she became bolder and cursed. Li Su didn't say a word, she remembered it, just do it, and wait until the evening to come back to clean up you. But the passers-by could not look at it anymore. Why are you like this? Your mother is reluctant to eat, reluctant to drink, and bought 2 steamed buns and mineral water for you to eat. You are still like this, really? The passer-by pulled Li Sula aside. Old lady, here is 50 yuan, you can use it to buy something delicious and delicious. Don't worry about your son, see how fat your son is. Li Su hurriedly refused, with an honest and simple appearance. No, I can't ask for your money. The passer-by couldn't help but stuffed 50 yuan into Li Su's pocket. Although Li Su's 3 views were not correct, he didn't want to consume the kindness of others. Good boy, good people are rewarded. I took your intentions, but I really can't ask for the money. If you really want to give it, just give $1. I can't ask for more. Li Su insisted. Forcibly returned the money to passers-by. The touched eyes of the passer-by were red. Auntie, you are so kind. If my mother is still alive, she must be the same as you. Then he stopped insisting, took out 10 yuan from his pocket and stuffed it into Li Su's hand. Madam, you can't refuse this money anymore. Then bowed his head and walked away with tears. The author has something to say. My daughter was on the first day of elementary school today, and she was on duty to wipe the table. She carried 2 rags to school early in the morning. After the results arrived, I found out that only my daughter and I were on duty seriously, and the parents beside us took the time to tell our children something. We stayed until 7:50, when the children were going to read early, we parents were kicked out. Oh, I remember that when we were in elementary school, no parents accepted it, let alone the parents' help on duty. Everything came by ourselves. Dear friends, do you remember what happened when you were in elementary school? Baiyun Mountain, who had witnessed all this, felt it was incredible. Is that young blind? Which eye did he see that this old witch was a good person? And in which eye does he see that he is not filial? Well, looking back at all the things before, I seem to be a bit unfilial. But his mother doesn't care. As long as his mother is happy, nothing else matters. When Li Su came back, Bai Yunchen was about to sneer a few words, but when his gaze caught Li Su's cold eyes, Bai Yunchen lowered his head wittily and nibbled on the bun. When returning that night, Li Su deliberately chose a rough and rugged road, and vomited several times on the road. By the time he got home, Bai Yunshan's bones were about to fall apart, and he didn't even have the strength to curse. He knew that this old witch was deliberately tossing herself. It must be. Wang Fang has to wait for the employer's family to finish dinner and pack everything before he can return. When he gets home, it's about 8 o'clock. Bai Qingqing went directly to Chen Tianatian's home after school to do homework, so there is no one else at home. Li Su directly threw Baiyun Mountain onto the bed. Yes, it was thrown. Regardless of Baiyun Mountain's horrified gaze, Li Su patted his hands and said, "Be honest, otherwise, beat you to death." After speaking, he raised his fist in demonstration. Bai Yunshan swallowed and nodded vigorously. He didn't dare, really didn't dare. Where did this monster come from? Is it scary? Li Su simply fried a few dishes. After the last dish was cooked, Bai Qingqing also bounced back. "I finished my homework? Wash your hands and eat quickly." "I see, milk, I'll help you," Bai Qingqing said with a smile. Li Su and Bai Qingqing sat opposite each other. "Milk, where is my dad?" "It's lying in the room." "Leave him alone," Li Su said angrily. "By the way, Milk, Grandpa Zhang came during the day and said he wanted to see Dad's legs. I will let him come again at night," Bai Qingqing said. "Oh, your dad's legs are okay. You don't need him to come. It's just time to remove the plaster." Li Su didn't plan to raise Baiyanshan's legs. He is a man, strong, even though he is as powerful as Niu has this ability, but Wang Fang and Bai Qingqing are weak, small. Just in case, it's better to make his legs limp. In fact, Bai Qingqing didn't want her father's legs to be good. She was afraid that when her father's legs were good, no one would live with her father. What if her father beat her mother again? It would be great if it could always be like this. At 7:50, Wang Fang came back in a hurry. Bai Qingqing was previewing his homework under the light, and Li Su was counting money. Wang Fang put down his things and hurried to the house. "Yunshan, have you eaten?" "No, what do you want to eat?" "Have noodles." "Okay, I will make it for you." "When I came back, I bought some braised beef. Can I make beef noodles for you?" Before Bai Yunshan spoke, Li Su raised his head and said, "Beef is a fat thing, he can't eat it. There are some scrambled eggs with tomatoes on the table. You can cook noodles for him with that." Wang Fang came out of the house and said boldly, "Mom, will you get something to eat for Yunshan tomorrow?" Li Su raised his head and glanced at her. "Why? After I serve your little one, do I have to serve the big one?" Wang Fang dared not speak immediately, and turned around and went to the kitchen. Bai Qingqing watched it aside and couldn't help but smile secretly. Oh, mother's temper, she should be treated with milk. She was always so bad and kind, always so soft-hearted. After only a few days of cleansing, did you forget how her father beat her to death? Bai Qingqing is very helpless for her mother's temper. She loves her mother and protects her everywhere, but deep down, she dislikes her mother's temperament very much and is too weak. She still prefers the temperament of milk. When she grows up, she will also become a person like milk. If Li Su knew, he didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Because of her intervention, Bai Qingqing didn't turn black, but he also went on another stranger road. But these are all things to do. Time passed in a hurry. 1 month later, Zhang Yuan came to Bai's house and removed the plaster of Baiyun Mountain. Wang Fang took a leave of absence today. He stood aside excitedly, helping Baiyun Mountain to walk around. Baiyun Mountain was also very excited. He finally regained his freedom. The first thing he had to do was to leave here and leave the control of the old witch. But after not taking a few steps, Baiyanshan's face turned black, because he found that his legs seemed to be lame. He pushed Wang Fang away, and walked a few steps forward, his face darkened. He was really lame. Wang Fang covered his face and wept, "Uncle Zhang, How could this happen? Why is Yunshan's leg lame? Zhang Yuan glanced at Li Su, who was innocent next to him. I said earlier that his leg should be recuperated. The implication is that if you don't take good care of yourself, I can't do anything about it. Baiyun Mountain stared at Li Su bitterly, and Li Su snorted, isn't it just a lame leg? What matters? It's not the first time, isn't your right hand also lost? Mom, don't say it. Wang Fang said quickly as he watched Baiyun Mountain's face getting darker and darker. Look at you so good. Last time, your hands were useless. You were sluggish for a few months and contracted alcohol and gambling. Why, this time your leg is lame, what are you going to do? I can warn you. Give me peace point, otherwise, I don't mind interrupting your leg again. Li Su said threateningly. Bianchan shuddered when he thought of the pain when his leg was broken, and the painful experience of more than a month. Zhang Yuan lowered his head and cleared his throat, indicating his presence. If there is nothing wrong, I'll go back first, and come to me if you have any questions. Li Su didn't speak, she didn't like the old man very much, although he was very gentle and elegant. Wang Fang wiped away his tears and personally sent Zhang Yuan away. Bai Yunshan sat on the stool with a gloomy expression. After waiting for a while, Wang Fang came in. He looked at Wang Fang and said, "Give me the money, I have something." Wang Fang glanced at Li Su, "I have no money, all the money is with Mom." Li Su snorted, "I'm so embarrassed to ask for money." "Just so, let's settle the account. During your injury period, a total of 3 people came to the family, all of whom came to ask for debt. I do the calculations. The total is 7,780 yuan. In the past month or so, you made a total of 590 yuan. Not enough. Why, how do you plan to make money to pay off your gambling debts?" Bianchan's face changed drastically, and Wang Fang looked at Bianchan incredulously, 7,780 yuan. How can it be so much? Her monthly salary is only 1,300 yuan. This is already pretty good in their suburban town, and Yunshan's salary in the factory was only 1,000 yuan. Speak. How do you plan to pay back the money? Li Su said. Bianchan did not speak. Wang Fang quickly figured it out, "Mom, my salary for these 2 months adds up to more than 2,000. At most, I can pay off my gambling debt in half a year. Your brain is sick. Your salary must be paid in the same amount every month. Except for the daily needs, I save the rest. I tell you, this money is for King's future schooling. No one is allowed. Move. Did you forget everything I told you before? Ah. You can't count on this man, all you can count on is Ching Ching. Are you planning to pay him back his gambling debts? Not enough." Li Su cursed, pointing at Wang Fang's nose. But those gambling debts. Wang Fang whispered. "Whoever made the sin, whoever pays it himself." Li Su said, staring at Baiyun Mountain. "But, Yunshan is now." Wang Fang whispered. "What about you, what do you mean?" Li Su asked, his eyes fixed on Baiyun Mountain. Bai Yunshan was stared at by Li Su and made his whole body cold. He just wanted to take money out to gamble, but he forgot, he still owed a debt outside. If you go to the casino now, you will definitely be found by those debt collectors. What should he do? Hey! You know you pig brain can't figure out a way. Li Su glanced at Baiyun Mountain in disgust. I have discussed with those people, and I will give you half a year to pay off these gambling debts. No interest will be charged during this period. So, from now on, you make money yourself and pay off your gambling debts. Bai Yunshan looked at Li Su in surprise, are those people so easy to talk? No interest yet? Is it possible? Isn't it impossible? Maybe they all convinced this old witch? That being the case, why didn't this old witch just ask them not to collect debts? She made it clear that she wanted to toss herself on purpose. However, this old witch can beat even those thugs, how can she escape? I'm going to the streets to beg again. Bayun Mountain didn't know what he could do, thinking about it, there was only this way, and it didn't take much effort to sit there and cry a few times and someone would give it. How great! Begging? Why don't you die? Are you so lazy? Have you considered whether your daughter is not ashamed of your beggar dad? Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. I'll just kill you. Li, after hearing what Bayun Mountain said, so was not angry, picked up the feather duster next to him, and whipped his head and face at Bayun Mountain. Bai Yunshan was extremely wronged and wanted to avoid him, but his right hand was already useless, and now his legs and feet are not very flexible, and he has actually suffered several times. Wang Fang wanted to go up and protect, but was held back by Bai Qingqing. Why are you going to stop it? It has only been a few months, and he squandered the 20,000 pension, and he still owes so much money. Before he gambled, why not for milk, not for his mother, not for himself, think about this family. Bai Qingqing stubbornly pulled Wang Fang's sleeves to prevent her from stepping forward, and at the same time secretly cheered for the milk in his heart, hit hard, and hit a few more. It's better to beat him up again. After a while, Li Soda was tired, put down the feather duster, and sat on the stool, panting. Bai Qingqing immediately released her hand, ran behind Li Su, poured tea with water, squeezed her shoulders and beat her back, very courteous. Seeing Bayun Mountain was very angry, this little witty-eyed wolf. Isn't she always not close to the old witch? Now it's fine, flattering. Why doesn't she worry about her dad? Was he the one who was beaten? Wang Fang ran over with tears, wanting to see where Bayun Mountain was injured. But Bayun Mountain pushed away impatiently. Then what do you say? Bayun Mountain said grimly. I've figured it out. There are 2 roads ahead of you. One is that the hardware factory in town needs someone to look at the warehouse. 2 shifts, 800 a month, if you work at night, there will be 200 yuan. Night shift subsidy, you can choose to work night shift, 1000 yuan a month. In the daytime, sleep in the morning, and go outside with me to make money in the afternoon. In this way, half a year, it should almost be paid off, even if it is not enough, then take it the family's money is subsidized. Li Su said. I won't do it. Even if I work the night shift, I have to go out to pick up the tatters. If I don't do it, I can't afford to lose this person. Bai Yunshan retorted immediately. What's the other way? There is another way, simple, and quick to make money. Li Su's eyes were cold. I heard that there are organ sellers in big cities. The money comes quickly, and a kidney is worth tens of thousands of yuan. Or selling blood. Selling kidneys comes quickly, do you want to try? Bai Yunshan was dumbfounded, what? Selling kidneys? I won't do it. Let you go to work, you feel tired, let you sell your kidneys, and you are timid and reluctant to do it, then what do you want to do? Expect the pie in the sky. Why don't you go to the sky? Li Su didn't get angry. And the meaning of Hansen? Bayun Mountain was so scared that he hugged his head, don't fight, I choose the first one, won't I choose the first way? Bayun Mountain is a very life-saving person. He wants to have a hole in his body and get a kidney. I think it's scary. Besides, it's easy to watch the gate, isn't it? No need to do any physical work. As for picking up the tatters, it's going to be over for food, and I don't care about this anymore. Wang Fang looked at Bayun Mountain with tears, which was really embarrassing for him. Then it's so decided, let him clean up, and I will take him to the hardware factory in the afternoon. Li Su said. Wang Fang quickly pulled Bayun Mountain down. Milk, are you going too? Bai Qingqing asked when she heard that something was wrong. I'm not going, who would want him to be a trash? Your dad just incidentally. Li Su said disdainfully. The group of people came to ask for debts a few times ago, and she cleaned them up. I happened to be seen by the owner of the hardware factory, and was shocked. It happened that the factory was often stolen and the owner of the hardware factory strongly invited her to go. Li Su was thinking about what to do for Baiun Mountain, and after thinking about it, she agreed, but she offered to take her son with him, but only received one person's salary. The boss agreed without thinking. Li Su also wanted to look at Baiun Mountain nearby, lest he would fly into the sky as soon as he left him. In addition, she is only in her early 50s and her body is very good. Ching ching, the milk is all for you. If you don't take good care of your dad, according to your dad's temperament, you won't be able to fight for 3 days. Li Suyu said earnestly. Bai Ching Ching was moved with tears in her eyes. Milk, I know, don't worry about it, I will study hard, I will take a good university entrance examination when I grow up, find a good job, and let me have a good life. I will leave school in the future. I will also work with you to pick up the tatters and sell them for money. All the money I make in the future will be paid to you. Okay. The milk is waiting to enjoy your blessing. But picking up the tatters, forget it, don't make people laugh at you. Li Su said in his heart, as long as you don't blacken, don't fight against the male and female masters, and don't do things that hurt the world, she was satisfied. If they want to make a joke, let them make a joke. The money I make with my skills is what is there to make a joke. Don't worry, I won't delay my study. Bai Ching Ching said seriously. Li Su can think about it. Although no matter how poor he is, he can't be poor, but their family situation is here, let the child do something. Aren't you afraid to lose face in front of your friends? Don't be afraid, Milk, Tian Tian is also helping her mother at home. Her mother is not healthy and can't go to work, so she picks up some work in the factory and goes home to do it. Tian Tian will help her mother after finishing her homework. The former Bai Ching Ching might feel ashamed, but now Bai Ching Ching knows that all this is for this family and for the future. She didn't feel ashamed. Good boy, much better than your dad. Li Su touched Bai King King's head, then took out 10 yuan from his pocket. Take it, don't your school have to pay for a spring outing in the park? How do you know it? I don't want to go out to play, I can read more at home. A trace of joy flashed in Bai King King's eyes, but she still sensibly refused. Do you think I wouldn't know if you didn't say it? Take it. The Chen family is not much better than ours. Chen Tian Tian is also gone, so do you. I'll give you 10 more and take it. Buy something to eat. Have fun for a day without thinking about money. Our family is not there yet. Li Su laughed. There is no vein or comparability for children, but as long as the guidance is good, children should still very sensible. Bai Ching Ching also wanted to go on a spring outing with her classmates. She had never participated in any activities in the class before. At first, she was not allowed to get milk and was afraid of spending money. Later, she had no money at home. Not to mention that the family still owes so much money. Take it, don't you even listen to Milk. Li Su said with a straight face on purpose. Bai Ching Ching thought for a while, she really wanted to go on a spring outing with her classmates, so she took 10 yuan. Milk, $10 is enough. When the time comes, you can bring some water and rice from home. Bai Ching Ching said that he would not accept anything for the remaining $10. Seeing that she insisted on not accepting it, Li Su didn't force it. When she went to bed at night, Bai Ching Ching held the $10 and cried excitedly. When she went to school the next day, Bai Ching Ching found the teacher and paid the money for the spring outing. The teacher was a little surprised. She knew about the situation of the Bai family, but she didn't say anything kindly, just smiled and accepted the money and was on the list. Noted Bai King King's name. When she returned to her seat, Chen Tian Tian stretched out her hand excitedly and said, "Great, Ching Ching, let's go and play together." My mother said that when the time comes, we will make a good meal for me, and we will share it together. Ching Ching, I'm so happy. Bai Ching Ching nodded, smiled, and held Chen Tianatian's hand. On the day of the spring outing, she was busy in the kitchen early in the morning. She was going to fry her daughter an egg, prepare some rice balls, and bring some warm water. She even bought 2 apples for her daughter yesterday, washed them and prepared to give them. The daughter takes it. Don't be busy. Dry and cold, how to eat? Here, this is what I bought for the girl, and you will let her take it later. I'm going to bed. What are you doing in a daze? Go back to bed and pay in the afternoon. Going to work. Li Su handed the plastic bag in his hand to Wang Fang, then turned around and shouted impatiently to Baiun Mountain. Bianchen looked at the plastic bag, salivating. This old witch is really willing to buy so many delicious foods for the dead girl. By the way, everything is in duplicate. Let Ching Ching and the girl of the Chen family eat separately. The Chen family also takes care of Ching Ching very much, and you have to be conscientious. Li Su said. Wang Fang opened it and saw 2 bottles of orange-flavored soda, small cakes, and milk candy. It costs a lot of money. Mom, why are you buying this? It's better to pay Yunshan debts if you have money. Li Su glanced over, and Wang Fang didn't dare to say any more, bowed his head and said, I know. Bianchen looked at the poached egg, swallowed. In this case, let me eat the poached egg, I just didn't have enough in the morning. You ate 2 steamed buns and a bowl of porridge in the morning. You haven't eaten enough yet. Are you a pig? Li Su twisted Bianchen's ears and cursed, save Ching Ching for breakfast. Then took away Baiun Mountain. After Bianchen had seen several times how old witches dealt with thieves who tried to steal from the factory, after they were caught, they had a beating, and after the beating, they took off their clothes and hung them on the beams before turning to the police station at dawn. Since there was an old witch in the factory, the losses have been greatly reduced. The director has already rewarded the old witch hundreds of dollars for this. Bai Yunshan deeply felt that in the past, old witches were fairly light on her. He also understood that now this job is just a decoration, and this old witch is the main one. On his way off work several times, he met his former creditors, and when those people saw the old witch behind him, they all hid and looked scared of being beaten. Whenever I think of it, Baiun Mountain is shuddering, and now he doesn't dare to bark his teeth to the old witch anymore. Can't afford it. Bai Ching Ching got up, and after washing up, came to the kitchen to get the lunchbox. Wang Fang handed her a plastic bag. This is what your milk bought for you. Let you share it with Tian Tian. Your milk said that the Chen family takes care of you on weekdays. We should also be courteous. Bai Ching Ching opened the plastic bag and saw that her eyes were red. Orange-flavored soda, small cakes and apples. Your milk has treated you so well these days. It costs a lot of money. I said, your milk almost turned your face. I wanted to fry you a poached egg. Since I don't need it, I have it for breakfast. Hurry up, don't be late, the car is waiting for no one. Wang Fang said something, but Bai Ching Ching couldn't listen. These things may not be as good as the snacks eaten by rich classmates at work, but they are the best that the family can give her. Bai Ching Ching was so moved, she held the plastic bag tightly in her arms. Thank you, Mom, you eat this poached egg by yourself. You work hard every day. Wang Fang touched Bai King King's head and said with a smile, okay, this is what your milk named for you. Your dad didn't want to eat it. You eat it quickly. Go to school when you're done. Don't delay. Bai Ching Ching nodded, hurriedly ate breakfast, and rushed to Chen's house. When Chen Tian Tian was out, she excitedly pulled Chen Tian Tian out. Tian Tian, look, this is my milk. Something bought for me. When Chen Tian Tian saw it, her eyes widened in surprise. This soda cake costs at least 20 or 30 yuan. Why is your grandma so willing? My milk has always been nice to me. Bai Ching Ching said with a smile. By the way, my milk said let's share it together. Sweet, let's be together then. Chen Tian smiled and said, my mother also prepared delicious food for me, look at it. Then she opened her school bag and took out the lunch box. Inside was the seaweed rice covered with cucumber carefully prepared by Mother Chen. Pork floss, sesame seeds, and a large bottle of honey water. Although it's a bit simple, it is well prepared at first glance. Wow, the colors are so beautiful, they seem to be delicious. Sweet, your mother's craftsmanship is so good. Bai Qingqing was a little envious, her mother didn't think so much. Even if you can prepare rice balls, they are pure white rice balls, nothing. But it doesn't matter, she still has milk. Let's share it together. Bai Qingqing said with a smile. Chen Tian also nodded happily. The author has something to say, please collect more and leave a message. The red envelopes are dropped from time to time, I am not sure when I have time to go online, haha. Thanks for your support. Mwah. Time flies, half a year has passed in a blink of an eye, and the Bai family finally paid off Baiyun Mountain's gambling debt. The Bai family breathed a sigh of relief, especially Baiyun Mountain. After paying off the gambling debt, he could finally straighten his back. Well, the gambling debt has been paid off, and the next month's salary. Bianchen said crookedly. He didn't want to gamble for money. In fact, in the past 6 months, he could not bear it, sneaking to the casino, trying to gamble a few more enjoyable, but Li Sui found out and almost smashed the casino without mentioning it, but he was directly on the street. He was smashed in the fight. After several hits, Baiyun Mountain did not dare to go to the casino. My hands are itchy, so I have fun fighting the landlords with the idle guys in the town, and they are not allowed to play for money, otherwise it will be another meal. Li Subai glanced at him, don't you know what's going on with your job? If it's not for my old lady, do you think people can want you? But last month, didn't I also catch a thief? After more than half a year, Baiyun Mountain has also figured out Li Su's temper. As long as she doesn't beat or curse or cause trouble, she won't do anything to herself. Therefore, Baiyun Mountain gradually dared to talk to Li Su. Li Subai gave him a glance, that's a blind cat and a dead mouse. Don't care what cat I am, I finally caught a mouse. Besides, I'm a big man, I can't have a penny on my body, it's not plausible, Bai Yunchen shouted. What do you want money for? Do you drink with your friends? You are not beautiful. Don't dream, and when you have time, let me collect the rags. Make more money, give the youth daily a special class, learn a dance instrument or something. Li Sui said. Bai Qingqing's eyes lit up, dance? Musical instrument? There are a few students in their class who know these skills, some can dance, some can play the violin, and some can play the piano. When the school organizes a performance, they always come on stage and win rounds of applause. Unlike themselves, except for studying, I don't know any specialties, and can only be arranged for a chorus every time. Without waiting for what Bianchen said, Wang Fang objected first, Mom, the children are from home, just study a good book, and learn what specialties. Anyway, it won't be necessary. For the money, it is better to buy clothes for Yunchen. What do you know, a Sholoid person? Reading blindly, without a hobby, that means studying hard. Even if such a person is admitted to a good university, he is just a nerd who can only study. What's the point? It's always okay to learn a specialty. That's all set. Li Su was impatient to explain to them and immediately decided. Thank you, milk. Bai Qingqing said excitedly. Don't be happy too early. No matter what you choose, remember that once you decide to learn, you must never give up halfway. No matter how busy or hard you are, you must stick to it. You can't fish for 3 days and hang on the net for 2 days. Li Su warned Tao. Later generations paid attention to the education of their children, and enrolled their children in this special class and that interest class, but few people could stick to it. Most of them couldn't stand the hard practice day after day and gave up halfway. She didn't know whether Bai Qingqing could stick to it, but she thought about Bai Qingqing's temperament, whether it was in the book or now, she should be able to stick to it. Don't worry. I will study hard. Bai Qingqing promised earnestly. She knows the situation at home and the hardship of making money. No matter how hard or tired, she will definitely stick to it. Well, let's not pick up the rags on Sundays, go to the children's palace, take a good look, which one do you want to learn? Li Su said. Well, I will. Bai Qingqing knew this opportunity was hard won, and she would cherish it. Bianchen rolled his eyes when he saw this. This old witch is used to buying people's hearts. Suddenly a banknote floated in front of him. Here, this is 10 yuan, it is your pocket money. I don't care how to spend it, but if you dare to gamble, I will break your leg. Li Su threatened. Bai Yunchen's eyes lit up, and he smiled and accepted the $10. From now on, as long as you stay safe and don't do anything to the old Nyonya, you will be given 70 yuan in pocket money a month, but you are not allowed to gamble. I heard that. Li Su said again. Hey, I heard that, I promise not to gamble. Bianchen was very happy to hear that he still had 70 yuan a month. I took 10 yuan to the small shop and bought a pack of cigarettes. As soon as I left the house, I opened the cigarette and took a sip. Yeah, isn't this brother Bai? It's been a long time. Two young men walked towards each other and saw Baiun Mountain's eyes light up. You can get it. Are you looking for a fight? Did you forget his old lady? The other young man held the other person with a look of horror. The two lowered their heads and said a few words and ran away in a hurry. Bianchen recognized that those two people were friends from the casino before. He was a little moved, but when he touched his pocket, only 5 yuan was left. In addition to the reputation of the old witch, I'm afraid the people at the casino are not even close. Won't let him in. Why not buy a lottery ticket? If you win the big prize, you will leave here quietly. When that happens, you will be free from the control of the old woman. Bianchen thought it was a good idea, and couldn't wait to go to the lottery ticket next door, bought 2 lottery tickets, and looked forward to his winning the jackpot. Someone soon told Li Su about the movement of Baiun Mountain. It took Li Su a lot of time to restore the relationship between the originally alienated neighbors. People didn't understand her at first, but later they thought that Li Su's son was absurd, his wife was weak, and his granddaughter was young. Poor Li Su was so old that he had to take care of her. This family can't help feeling sympathy, and help the Bai family overtly and secretly. Li Su is also used to dealing with these interpersonal relationships. It didn't take long for the neighbors to become harmonious, like a family. Therefore, the old lady of the Wang family next door saw that Baiun Mountain had gone to the lottery station, and immediately ran to Bai's house and told Li Su about it. While saying words of indebtedness, Li Su put Wang Fang's side dishes on a plate. Thank you, old sister, this is my wife's side dishes. The hot and sour ones are the most appetizing. The grandson daughter-in-law is so happy, take it back and give her a taste. If you like it, I will send some more. Mrs. Wang laughed. Although the things are small, the important thing is that they have the intention. Then I'm not welcome, alas, my Xiaolan's mouth is awkward. After pregnancy, I always want to eat sour. I think the pickles at home are not sour enough. Sour son and hot girl, this is a good omen. Or old sister, you are blessed, your children and grandchildren are filial and capable, and you will have 4 generations together soon. What a blessing! Li Su coaxed Mrs. Wang out with a smile. As soon as he turned around, Wang Fang greeted him with a sad face, Mom, what can I do? He finally stopped gambling and bought lottery tickets again. This person who is addicted to the lottery is no different from a gambler. Isn't the old Wang's family on the street just because his son is addicted to the lottery and his wives are scattered? What are you afraid of? As long as you don't give him money privately, where does he get so much money to buy lottery tickets? Li Su glared at Wang Feng. I really haven't given any money to Yunshan in private recently. I have given all my money to my mother, and there is nothing left. Wang Feng whispered. Before the Mid-Autumn Festival, because of her good performance on weekdays, the employer gave her an extra 200 yuan for the festival. She thinks Yunshan has been working hard recently, and wants to secretly give this money to Yunshan. As a result, her mother-in-law found out, she slapped her scolding dog with blood, and beat Yunshan again. Frightened Wang Feng never dared to give money privately anymore. Just remember. Don't be soft-hearted, you remember, men become bad when they have money. It's not that Li Su is too harsh on Wang Feng, but this is Wang Feng, who is just a brainless person. She will forget. Fortunately, the neighbors now know about her family's situation, and seeing the scene of the mother-in-law teaching her daughter-in-law, they no longer blindly accuse Li Su as before. Wang Feng, everything is good, but his temper is too soft. This home, if it hadn't been supported by Li Su, would have dispersed long ago. After Li Su scolded his daughter-in-law, he only felt that his anger was still a bit uncomfortable. He wondered if he would find some reason to beat Baiyun Mountain to get out of his anger later. When she put it on, it happened to be the most severe time of the original menopausal symptoms. A series of menopausal symptoms such as menopause, insomnia, night sweats, etc., made the original bad temper worse. This also explains why the original body can sit back and watch all the evil actions his son has done to his daughter-in-law and granddaughter. The mentality is distorted, and it is natural to see others not good. Fortunately, Li Su came through. Of course, Li Su can't resist the normal physical changes of the body, but it is better that she can relieve her inner emotions by hitting and cursing others. Of course, this object is Baiyun Mountain. Li Su was thinking. Suddenly Baiyun Mountain came back. Why did you go? Li Su immediately felt that her hands were itchy, and she looked around for something to take advantage of. No, nothing, I went to buy a pack of cigarettes. Perhaps after being beaten for a long time, Baiyun Mountain also had some experience, and immediately noticed that the old witch's mood was wrong, and she moved towards the door, trying to escape at any time. Although he knew it was useless, the old witch was so good that she could run 8 streets without panting after chasing people. Unfortunately, it was too late. Li Su picked up the broomstick by the wall and immediately slapped it over. Bai Yunshan held his head. Oh, what's wrong? Why hit me? You are ashamed to say, how capable you are. Don't gamble and buy lottery tickets instead. Why, do you want to get rich overnight? You don't take pictures of yourself, do you have that good luck? Buy lottery tickets, there are so many people in. How many people really get rich by lottery? I think you don't play the house for 3 days. Li Su said while playing. I bought 2 lottery tickets for 4 yuan. Bai Yunshan felt very wronged, and he knew that without asking him, which neighbor must have seen it and told the old witch. What's wrong with 4 yuan? Today is 4 yuan, tomorrow may be 40 yuan, and the day after tomorrow is 400. This is a bottomless pit. Baiyun Mountain, let me tell you, I'm not used to your stinking problem. Step into the lottery shop, my old lady limped your other leg. With the last roar, Li Su stopped. Well, after loosening the muscles and bones, the whole person is refreshed. Li Su was refreshed, leaving Baiyun Mountain to stand in place and yelling. Wang Feng proficiently took the medicine box, pulled Baiyun Mountain and sat down on the stool, applying medicine to his wound, still nagging, you don't know what your mother's temper is, so why are you hiding? When you're done angry, isn't it over? The more you hide, the more angry your mother will be, and the harder you will fight. You are the one who suffers. Why bother? Baiyunshan grinned in pain, shut up. Baiyun Mountain. A roar came from the room, and Baiyun Mountain immediately lowered his head and said nothing. Wang Fang couldn't help but smile, and continued, "Don't be angry with your mother. Mom beats you for your own good. Mom is right. It is love to beat or scold, and it is a curse not to beat or scold. Don't tell me, I think what Mom said is very reasonable. Don't you think our days are getting more and more exciting? There is a fart." Bai Yunchen muttered in his heart, "You guys are running around, what about me? The sea of bitterness is boundless, and I don't know when I can get to the shore. It won't hurt to listen to Mom more in the future." Wang Fang was still nagging. Bai Yunchen gave her an angry look. How could he be blind and marry such an idiot? A few days later, it happened to be Sunday. Li Sui planned to take Bai Qingqing to the local children's palace today. Wang Fang was resting today and went with him. Baiyun Mountain didn't want to go. He just got off the night shift and wanted to sleep. Li Sui was stunned. "Sleep? Sleep? Are you a pig? You know you sleep. You slept like a dead pig last night, and you can't wake you up even if thunder strikes. I tell you, you must go together today." Baiyun Mountain was scolded and reluctantly followed. "When I went out, I met Chen Tiantian and her mother. It turned out that the Chen family heard that Bai Qingqing was going to learn a specialty. After the couple discussed it, they gritted their teeth and decided to give their daughter one. That's good. If the course is convenient in the future, the two children will go together and the parents of the province will pick them up." Li Sui said with a smile. She had a pretty good impression of the Chen family. At the beginning, the two couples of Bai Qingqing were also very good. Unfortunately, Bai Qingqing had already distorted the three views at that time, ignoring the kindness of the Chen family to her. Later, when I learned that the male protagonist sold Bai Qingqing to a foreign prostitute, he couldn't bear it. Bai Qingqing finally died in a foreign country. It was the Chen family who took her ashes back to the country for burial. Well, I am afraid I will trouble you at that time. Her father is going to work, and I am not in good shape. Mother Chen is a gentle woman. Yes, we Qingqing usually thanks you for your help. Li Sui said with a smile, and soon talked to Mother Chen, but it was Wang Fang, who followed the two in silence without much talking. After spinning around, watching for a long time, and also attending a few minutes of class in person, the two little girls got together and talked for a while. Finally Bai Qingqing chose calligraphy and Chen Tiantian chose the flute. Wang Fang and Baiyanchen didn't react much, but Li Sui and Chen's mother both smiled with satisfaction. In fact, they could all see that the two children were obviously interested in instruments such as piano and violin, but in the end they chose calligraphy and flute. I'm afraid it was because of the family's economic situation, and I chose a relatively low-cost class. Although the child's sensibility is distressing, for the Bai and Chen family, it can only be so. Li Sui nodded, "Okay, then report these two. But I still have to tell you again, since you have chosen, you must stick to it and never give up halfway." Bai Qingqing and Chen Tiantian glanced at each other and nodded. The next step is to register and pay. After paying the fees, Wang Fang had the final say, a little distressed. This year's tuition will cost more than 1,000, plus the extra costs of paper, pen, and so on. How can you get 1 or 2,000 a year? The higher the tuition, the higher the school tuition, plus other expenses, Qingqing will spend 3 to 4,000 a year alone. It's too expensive. Bai Qingqing was originally excited, but after hearing her mother's words, she calmed down. It is false to say that it is not sad. She always thought that in this family, the one who loved her the most was her mother, but nowadays, even the milk and dad don't say anything, but Mom. You're just a child, if you have money and don't give it to her, who are you going to spend it for? Is it for this prodigal son? Li Sui asked, narrowing his eyes. Wang Fang stopped talking immediately, and Bai Yunchen frowned, "Why did it involve me again? I didn't say a word." Mother Chen said softly, it is said that no matter how hard it is, no child can suffer, and no matter how poor it is, no education can be poor. We adults have worked so hard, not all for children. Li Su said irritably, even the child's education is reluctant to invest, you fool. Mother Chen smiled slightly and stretched out her hand to touch Bai Qingqing's hair. Fortunately, there is a sensible person in the Bai family, otherwise the child's life would be too bitter. Time passed quickly, and 10 years passed in a blink of an eye. Although the Bai family often jumped around, life went on plainly. Because of his hard work, clean hands and feet, and serious work, Wang Fang has a good reputation in the housekeeping party. In order to keep her, the original employer specially gave her a salary increase. Now Wang Fang's monthly salary is already 2,000–5,000. As for Baiyun Mountain, it is still a waste of firewood. The only advantage is that it has been beaten and convinced by Li Su now. The rectification is obedient and dare not to have any trouble. But 10 years later, his salary has also risen, and he is about 2,000 yuan a month. Seeing that he was still honest and devoted to his work, Li Su gradually relaxed a little and no longer accompanied him to work every day. But for 10 years, Baiyun Mountain's pocket money is still 70 yuan a month. Now even Bai Qingqing's monthly living expenses are more than that of Baiyun Mountain. Bianchen protested countless times, but they were all returned by Li Soda. Bai Qingqing and Chen Tiantian were also admitted to the university. They couldn't bear to leave their families. They didn't choose to go to the university in other places, but went to the local university. In this way, they could go home every week. For this reason, Li Su was very upset and scolded Bai Qingqing for not promising. But Bai Qingqing had long seen through the gentleness hidden under Li Su's harsh appearance, and didn't care about Li Su's words at all. Bai Qingqing and Chen Tiantian thought that Chen's mother was weak, and Chen's father had to go to work again. Chen Tiantian was not at ease at home. The same is true for Bai Qingqing. She is used to living under the control of her mighty grandma, and she doesn't want to get out of such control at all. Li Su was thinking, the plot should start soon. What is the name of the hero, Zhang Ruqi? It should be about to appear. When did he and the hostess first meet? Milk, I won't go back with Tiantian this weekend. The elder sister helped us find a part-time job near the college town. Tiantian and I are going to have a look this weekend. We won't be back. We will come back next weekend. Bai Qingqing said on the phone. Li Su nodded, well, you guys be careful, don't be deceived, call if you have anything to do. After hanging up the phone, Wang Fang sighed, this kid, just study hard. What kind of work is she doing? Isn't it enough for her to spend 800 yuan a month? It must be to accompany Tiantian. Okay, you don't know the situation of the Chen family. Tianation's mother is getting worse in the past few years. You need money to see a doctor, take medicine, and ask someone to take care of her. Tianation's child is filial and wants to serve the family. Lighten the burden, what's wrong? As for Qingqing, although our family can afford it, it is good to go out for exercise when the child is older. There is nothing to worry about. Li Su said impatiently. Wang Fang did not dare to refute, but stood on the side. Go and call Baiyun Mountain to come out for dinner, what time is it, and you are still sleeping? Li Su said. Mom, let Yunchen sleep a little longer. He has worked the night shift. Wang Fang said with a smile. Li Su glared at her, not wanting to talk to the idiot anymore. At the provincial university, Bai Qingqing hung up the phone and smiled at Chen Tiantian, okay, say it. Chen Tiantian was a little embarrassed, in order to be with me, you can't go home on weekends, Qingqing, thank you. What are you talking about, what is the relationship between the two of us, why bother to say such things? But my milk said, let us be careful not to be fooled. Bai Qingqing said, taking Chen Tianation's hand. Chen Tian Desert nodded, well, thank you for being by my side, otherwise I would be a little scared. Well, for the two of us, if there is something wrong, let's run. Let's prepare well, so that we are like this. Bai Qingqing whispered quietly in Chen Tianxian's ear. Chen Tianxian nodded repeatedly, well, I listen to you. In fact, Chen Tianxian felt something was wrong in her heart. Being a model and just taking a photo, could she give that much money? But she needs money very much now, and she wants to try it, in case it's true. But at the same time she is also very scared, what if she encounters a liar? Fortunately, Qingqing is with her. It is her blessing to have a good sister like Qingqing. Chen Tiantian thought, leaning on Bai Qingqing's shoulder. On Saturday, Chen Tiantian and Bai Qingqing went to the studio that the senior sister said, and they went around for a long time before finding a place in a deep alley. When Chen Tiantian saw the environment, she was a little frightened, and clutched Bai Qingqing's hand tightly. Qingqing, let's go back, I'm afraid. I think it's good to work part-time in a milk tea shop. Although the salary is not high, it is safe. Unlike here, it is not a good place at first sight. Bai Qingqing also felt the same way, nodded, let's go. The two of them hurried back holding hands, and suddenly heard something like a sound in the alley next door. Qingqing, listen, is there someone over there? Chen Tiantian grabbed Bai Qingqing and said. Bai Qingqing listened attentively, it seems that there is someone, you stay here, I'll go and see. Because he followed Lisa since childhood, his ears and eyes were confusing, and his personality was bold and bold. No, I can't let you go alone, what if it's a bad guy? I'll go with you. Although Chen Tiantian was shaking in fear, she still held Bai Qingqing's hand firmly. Bai Qingqing smiled, well, we two will go together.